Thank you for joining this edition of News Today, a series where we briefly discuss and analyze important news of the day. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. The Union Cabinet approves IndiaAI mission to strengthen artificial intelligence innovation ecosystem. Union Cabinet has approved Uttar Poorva Transformative Industrialization Scheme 2024. The Ministry of Defence denotifies civil areas of 10 cantonments which will be merged with concerned state local body. Zero budget natural farming implications for sustainability, profitability and food security, a study by NABARD has been published. Ministry of Coal releases strategy paper on coal import substitution. Growth without basic rights is pointless, says the Supreme Court in Vedanta case. Let us start with the first news for the day. Union Cabinet approves IndiaAI mission to strengthen artificial intelligence innovation ecosystem. Let us first start by talking about the IndiaAI mission. It aims to establish a comprehensive ecosystem that catalyzes AI innovation through strategic programs and partnerships across the public and private sectors. This aim will be achieved by democratizing computing access, providing startup risk capital, ensuring socially impactful AI projects, and bolstering ethical AI. It will be implemented by the IndiaAI Independent Business Division under the Digital India Corporation. The IndiaAI mission will have the following components. IndiaAI compute capacity. It will be a one-stop solution for resources critical for AI innovation. The IndiaAI Innovation Center to undertake the development and deployment of indigenous large multimodal models. The IndiaAI Datasets platform, which will further provide a one-stop solution for seamless access to non-personal datasets for Indian startups and researchers. The IndiaAI Application Development Initiative, it will focus on the adoption of impactful AI solutions for catalyzing large-scale socio-economic transformation. IndiaAI Future Skills to mitigate barriers to entry into AI programs. IndiaAI Startup Financing, which will support and accelerate deep tech AI startups by providing funding. And lastly, safe and trusted AI that will further enable the implementation of responsible AI projects. Moving on, let us also talk about the significance of the mission. It will drive responsible, inclusive growth of India's AI ecosystem. Furthermore, it will propel innovation and build domestic capacities to ensure tech sovereignty. It will also facilitate creation of highly skilled employment opportunities to harness the demographic dividend. And lastly, it will demonstrate the potential of transformative technology for good in society.
Moving on to the next news. Union Cabinet has approved Uttar Poorva Transformative Industrialization Scheme 2024. It is a central sector scheme for the development of industries and generation of employment in the states of the northeastern region. Its objective is to generate gainful employment, which will lead to the area's overall socio-economic development and productive economic activity in the manufacturing and service sectors. Now let's discuss and understand the key features of the scheme. The scheme period lasts for 10 years along with 8 years of committed liabilities. If we talk about the eligibility criteria, all new industrial units and expanding units are eligible under the scheme. Maximum eligible benefits to one unit from all components is Rs 250 crores. Green industries like EV charging stations are on the positive list, while cement, plastic and others are on the negative list. Further, districts are categorized in two zones, Zone A, which are industrially advanced districts, and Zone B, which are industrially backward districts. The scheme is divided into two parts. Part A caters to the incentives for the eligible units, and Part B is for implementation and institutional arrangements for the scheme. Earmarking of funds under the scheme is such that 60% of the outlay of Part A has been earmarked to 8 northeastern states and 40% on first in first out basis. The scheme will be implemented by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade in cooperation with the states. At last, if we talk about some other schemes for development in Northeast region, then these include PM Divine Scheme for funding infrastructure and social development projects as per the needs of the northeastern states. Niti Forum for Northeast to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, and Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme to create infrastructure to ensure water supply, power connectivity, education, and health in the region.
In our next news, the Ministry of Defence denotifies civil areas of 10 cantonments which will be merged with concerned state local bodies. Earlier in 2023, the Ministry of Defence had notified the state governments to consider merging the civil areas of cantonments with the neighbouring state municipalities. Furthermore, military areas of cantonments will be declared as military stations under the complete control of the army. Now let us start by understanding more about cantonments. It is an area where the military troops are garrisoned and is primarily dedicated to housing soldiers. However, the civilian populations are also present there. It was established by the East India Company after the Battle of Plassey in 1757. The Barrackpore, Calcutta was the first cantonment which was established in 1765. Presently, there are 62 cantonments in India. Now let us further talk about the administration of the cantonments. The local self-government of the cantonments is the subject matter of the union government which comes under the entry 3 of Union List. However, the concerned state government can implement any scheme in cantonment areas, and such schemes are already being implemented by all state governments. The cantonments are currently administered under the Cantonments Act 2006 in accordance with the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. Also, the cantonments are administered by cantonment boards, which perform civic duties such as providing public health, water supply, and primary education. The cantonment station commander is the board's ex officio president, and the number of elected members varies from 2 to 8 based on the category. Lastly, let us also have a look at the categories of the cantonments. Category 1 with population more than 50,000, Category 2 with population between 10,000 to 50,000, Category 3 with population between 2,500 to 10,000, and Category 4 with population less than 2,500.
Moving on to the next news. Zero budget natural farming implications for sustainability, profitability, and food security, a study by NABARD has been published. The study assesses the zero budget natural farming on 4 crucial parameters. First is sustainable agriculture, in which naturally obtained inputs like cow dung, cow urine, and leaves are sustainable alternatives to the chemical inputs. Next is the impact on farmers' net incomes, as a study showed that net income of farmers under zero budget natural farming exceeded that of non-zero budget natural farming practitioners in most crops. Third parameter is the influence on crop productivity, although there have been instances of increased yield in some crops under zero budget natural farming. Traditional varieties under zero budget natural farming can result in decline in per unit area productivity. Lastly, it studied the potential implications on national food security if scaled up. According to the study, there would be significant food shortages impacting India's self-sufficiency in food grains. Further, if we talk about zero budget natural farming, then it is farming with nature without use of modern tools and technology like machinery, genetically modified seeds, and soil testing. According to it, plants obtain 98 to 98.5% of nutrition from air, water, and sun, and remaining 1.5% from the soil. This system, therefore, can sustain and flourish even without nutrient supplementation. Also, the union government implements zero-budget natural farming as Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati, a sub-scheme of Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Now let's talk about 4 wheels of zero-budget natural farming pioneered by Subhash Palekar. This include Bijamrit, microbial coating of seeds, Jivamrit, microbial coating of soil, Vapsa, soil aeration, and Achhadan, mulching, that is, applying layer of organic material to soil surface. At last, now let's also discuss the key recommendations of the study. It suggests a need for long-term experimentation before suggesting zero-budget natural farming as a national-level agriculture practice. Also, it focuses on farming practice neutrality. According to it, by providing direct benefit transfers, the subsidy becomes neutral towards specific farming practices. Moreover, it also suggests that resilient supply chain networks for farm inputs are a prerequisite to transitioning towards natural farming. Moving ahead, Ministry of Coal releases strategy paper on coal import substitution. This has been prepared by the Inter-Ministerial Committee constituted by the Ministry for making recommendations on import substitution of coal by 2030. Let's start by first having a look at its key observations. Despite having rich coal deposits, which is around 378.20 billion tons, India is second largest importer of coal, importing 237 million ton in financial year 2023, costing rupees 3.83 lakh crores. Coal is majorly consumed for electricity generation in India, about 64%, followed by steel and cement sectors. In terms of energy consumption matrix, coal dominates and accounts for 56% of primary energy consumption. Also, it accounts for 76% of electricity generation and will remain a major fuel with 55% share by financial year 2030. Further, if we talk about the factors behind coal import, then these include smaller and lower quality reserves of coking coal, less availability of high gross calorific value coal, challenges in developing new coal mines related to land acquisition, delay in obtaining statutory clearance, and etc., and logistics constraints for evacuation. Now let's discuss the key recommendations of the committee. It is imperative to emphasize the importance of implementing the coal logistic plan as a top priority, alongside leveraging raw coking coal production and integrating stamp charging battery technology within the steel sector. Additionally, aiming to escalate India's washing capacity to 140 million ton by 2030 and promoting coal gasification-based direct reduced iron for steel production are essential. Moreover, rationalizing GST compensation cess on coal would further streamline operations and encourage sustainable growth in the sector. At last, now let's have a look at some government measures for coal import substitution. First is Vision 2030 to increase in-coal and lignite production. Next is auction and operationalization of more commercial or captive coal blocks. Third is the coal logistic policy and coal evacuation plan for efficient evacuation of coal. Fourth is mission coking coal for production and utilization of domestic coking coal. And at last is the technology upgradation with coal sector digitalization, smart dashboard and remote sensing application.
Moving on to the last news for the day. Growth without basic rights is pointless, says the Supreme Court in Vedanta case. Let us first start by talking about the ruling. The Supreme Court has made this observation while upholding Vedanta's Toothukudi copper smelting facility closure by the High Court. In 2018, the State Pollution Control Board and the state government ordered the plant to shut down for alleged pollution. The Supreme Court further noted that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other international treaties and accords acknowledge the basic rights such as breathing clean air and drinking clean water as human rights. It has also been stated that governments and institutions all over the world must uphold and protect these rights even as they create jobs and industry. During the judgment, the Supreme Court also stated the following principles. The public trust doctrine, which establishes that the state holds natural resources in trust for the benefit of the public. Intergenerational equity principle, which suggests that the present residents of the earth hold the earth in the trust for future generations. The polluter pays principle, which asserts that those who pollute or degrade the environment should bear the cost of mitigation and restoration. And lastly, the principles of sustainable development. It is a concept that facilitates development without depriving future generations of the ability to meet future needs.
The place in news for today is Indonesia with its capital Jakarta. It is in the news as RBI and Bank Indonesia signed MOU to promote use of local currencies in bilateral transactions. Talking about its political boundaries, it is a Southeast Asian country located on the equator and is the largest archipelagic country. It shares land borders with Malaysia, Papua New Guinea and East Timor. It shares maritime borders with Singapore, Philippines, Australia, Vietnam, Thailand and India. Water bodies surrounding it are South China Sea and Pacific Ocean in the north and Indian Ocean in the south. Talking about its geographical features, Indonesia's 5 main islands are Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, Sulawesi and Papua. Its major rivers are Mahakam and Barito. Its highest peak is Puncak Jaya. Also, it lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire.
As we conclude today's main news, let's take a look at some quick updates. Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog and Meta have announced the launch of the Frontier Technology Labs. Its aim is to empower students to innovate using technologies like artificial intelligence, augmented and virtual reality and blockchain. It is an advanced version of the Atal Tinkering Lab equipped with state-of-the-art infrastructure. Communities, particularly those in western Rajasthan, are concerned about the state's proposal to classify orans or sacred groves as deemed forests. A sacred grove comprises patches of natural vegetation ranging from a few trees to several acres that are dedicated to local deities or tree spirits. The Technology Development Board has entered into an agreement with a private company for the advanced chemical manufacturing facility. Technology Development Board is a statutory body under the Technology Development Board Act 1995, which comes under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Its objective is to commercialize the results of indigenous research. The Union Cabinet has approved the continuation of targeted subsidy of ₹300 per LPG cylinder for up to 12 refills per year under the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana during the financial year 2024-25. PM Ujjwala Yojana was launched in 2016 with the objective to provide clean cooking fuel to rural and deprived households which were otherwise using traditional cooking fuels. Under the scheme, the government targets 10.35 crore LPG connections. Chip In Center aims to provide state-of-the-art electronic design automation tools to around 85,000 students to design semiconductor chips. The center has been set up by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology at the Center for Development of Advanced Computing or CDAC. It is a centralized design facility hosting the most advanced tools for the entire chip design cycle and provides aggregate services for fabrication of design. The government has launched the Niti for States platform. The Niti for States is a comprehensive digital initiative designed to empower the states or union territories in their pursuit of national development goals. This platform offers a centralized repository of valuable resources including the best practices, policy documents, data sets, and Niti Aayog publications. It will be available in 22 major Indian languages and 7 foreign languages. The Supreme Court has directed to constitute a committee to assess the damage caused in the Corbett Tiger Reserve due to the tiger safaris. The Corbett Tiger Reserve is located on the foothills of Himalayas in Uttarakhand and spread over Bhabar and Lower Shivalik region. It is the first national park to be established in mainland Asia. It has also been declared as an important bird area by BirdLife International. The Prime Minister has offered his reverence to the Shankaracharya Hill on his recent visit to Kashmir. The hill is located in the Zabarwan range, which houses the Shankaracharya temple. The Shankaracharya temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva and is located at a height of 1100 feet. This temple is considered as the oldest shrine for worship in the Kashmir Valley. This temple got its name from the visit of the philosopher and saint Adi Shankaracharya. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.